Hi, I'm Tab Pigg with Vettec, and you're watching 2 Minutes with Tab. Today what we're going to talk about is shoe selection. The shoe should fit the horse, okay? But it also needs to fit the wall thickness. Different feet have different wall thicknesses. You can't very well put a coarsely punched shoe on a thin-walled horse. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you, these are different size shoes, but I'm going to go over the coarsest punched shoes for a thick, heavy-walled horse, and then we're going to go down to a very finely punched shoe for a very thin-walled horse. So if we'll drop down here, you can see on this larger shoe, the nail should be right inside the white line or just outside the white line when we nail the shoe on. So that tells me I've got a good thick wall on this foot. So that's a good shoe for that foot. Now let's move down to the next foot. It's a little thinner walled. So instead of me rasping all my hoof wall away to get this one to fit, I'm going to move up to that size shoe or that thickness of shoe. This one, he's already thin. Why take any more hoof wall than we have to? So that I've gone to a little finer finer punched shoe. Then we come down to this one, and you can see it's really fine. This type of shoe is like a training plate for a yearling racehorse or a horse that you're just starting. He doesn't have a lot of wall, so we're going to use a really fine punched shoe for that foot. Okay, now that we've got our horse out, we've got our shoe shaped up, I'm going to show you the thickness of the hoof wall to the white line and why we picked this shoe. This is a 3/8 thick by 7/8 wide piece of stock. Look at the size of this horse. If we nailed a light shoe on him, he's going to wreck it. So the heavier the horse, the heavier the shoe needs to be. So let's get this foot cleaned up, and I'll show you why we picked this shoe for its nail placement and its nail alignment. Okay, here you can see the white line. There's our old nail lines right there, our old nail holes. Here's our white line. What would have happened if we had picked a shallower punched or a finely punched shoe? Our nail holes would be out here in the hoof wall. That's a very weak place to nail to. It's going to chip, it's going to break. We're going to get into that in another segment, but we're looking to get those nail lines right through the white line or just outside the white line. So you can see our thickness here and our thickness here. This stocking shoe, or the way this shoe's punched, that's going to put us right where we need to be. So we'll just slip this shoe up here. Make sure we've got a good fit through the toe. We've got a little bit of expansion through the heel. Generally, when I get shoe nailed on, 2 nails, I'll drop the foot down, make sure my fit's right, that I don't have the shoe shifted one way or the other, that my toe's not backed up. So we'll just drop that foot down. Looks pretty good from here. We'll go ahead and nail him up. Normally I don't use my heel nails because I want a little bit more movement back here. Most of your movement in the foot's in the back. It's not up in the front. So I'll try to keep all my nails towards the front. These are ranch horses. They're going out in a lot of rock. They're seeing a lot of country that changes on them. So it's very common in this area to use your back nail holes just to keep the shoes on in a rocky area. Kind of a pet peeve thing with me. I see people over block their nails. There's no need in it. All we're doing is setting that head into that crease. There's no reason to sit there and beat on that nail head. It only takes a couple of good smacks to set those nails. Because all you're doing when you over clench like that, you're tearing that hoof wall. And we're going to get into nail height and alignment in a farther segment. But all we've done now is we've set those nail heads down into that crease, we've blocked our clenches, and they're turned up and ready to clench. Okay, now that we've got our shoe nailed on, I'm going to show you how to finish one. When you're not looking for a big clench, you're looking for actually a small clench. The smaller and thinner the clench is, the better it is, because if this horse reaches up and pulls this shoe off, a thin clench will pop loose without breaking up the hoof wall. That's very important. So let's pull these up. We'll put a finish on here. So all I'll generally do is just pull my nail down a little bit. The width of the nail is how big you want your clench to be. So you want a square clench. That one's not it. And you want to come in and thin those clenches down. Don't rasp them away, but thin them down. And you should be able to take a pair of pantyhose or something like that, a piece of silk, and rub over those clenches without snagging. That would be a good finished clip. So we'll jump over here and get this side. Same thing, just kind of pull them down, get them started. You'll see people do this. When I was taught to do it, we used to turn those rasp up and put a notch through there. There's no reason to do that. All you're doing is weakening the hoof wall. All I'm doing is taking that horn that's been pulled down when I blocked my clench, pull some hoof wall down, so I'm getting that cleaned out from underneath it. There's no reason to notch that foot. I see a lot of people dressing the foot all the way to the top. No reason to do that. Just get the high spots off, make sure it's good, smooth. And I think we're done.